Hi guys, welcome to Spatial Chat, another episode, how to use space. Let's go. Before we jump to that, I will just ask you three quick questions. Who you are, where do you live, and what do you do for a living?
Okay, I'm John Schreiner. I live in Kingston, Canada, and I'm a medical physicist, now retired from my hospital job, but still involved with a number of different organizations, medical physics organizations. And so that's kind of where I'm at these days, and that's the kind of work that brought me to SpatialChat.
Let's jump to the case. So tell me, for example, I'm participant, and what's going on here, and how you've been using SpatialChat?
Okay, so we have a conference that we used to hold every 2 years or so. So it's been going on for about 20 years, and it's a small conference on how to measure radiation dose in a radiotherapy clinic. That's the main work that the research and the people involved were working on. And we were supposed to have a live meeting in Quebec City last year, and it didn't happen. And we wanted to have a virtual meeting, but we wanted to have a virtual meeting where there could be still a lot of interaction, because the meeting has always been a small, intimate meeting, about 100 people, where the experts in the field, those new to the field, the students could all mingle, get to know each other, become friends. And so the interactive part of the meeting was very, very important. And we wanted to find a virtual space where we could have a lot of interaction. We discovered on the left brief instructions for people who were new, so they could understand. And I will tell you, the first day that we opened this space, it took people about 5-10 minutes to get familiar to the space. They would cluster in this room, and then they would see what the rules are, but we didn't do a lot of training. We just let people learn it on them by themselves. So this was one of the entry rooms. Another entry hall, as people might know, as you fill up the rooms in SpatialChat, they get moved to secondary rooms. Yeah. So this was one of the things we wanted to have, is a way that we could present our posters. We didn't have a lot of posters. We had 17 posters, so we could put just a few in a room. And again, here we had the advantages of SpatialChat that actually, why don't we move close to poster 18? I'll just move. We had this venue again where you could have a cluster of people around poster 18 and another cluster of people around poster 16. They could scroll into the space, so the posters fill up their whole screen. The posters were quite readable. We gave instructions suggesting a size and what fonts they should use. People did that. But as soon as you had a little cluster around, say, poster 18, the people at poster 17 didn't hear you. So now a presenter of this poster could present their Monte Carlo simulations, and just like they would at a poster conference. And in fact, it was very much like a poster conference. Even though we had a set time for the poster discussions, throughout the conference, people would come into the space and you would see them looking at posters, and you would see little conversations happening. And the meeting ended at noon on a Thursday, but at 1:30 on that Thursday, I was walking through the space, and there were people still clustered around the poster session, having conversations. They weren't all about science. Some of them were about hockey and their favorite beers, but there was still a lot of interaction going on. So that was kind of nice. What we said to the vendors is, why don't you set up a booth like you would set in an exhibit hall at a conference? And this particular vendor is a Canadian vendor of quality assurance equipment. They went to their graphic design people, and they set up a booth just very much like it would be at a conference, with some of their products, some text on a background. And would have, and each of the theaters looked somewhat differently. We used some of the theater backgrounds from SpatialChat. We gave the vendors the opportunity to pick their background. This vendor liked the conference room background, and we just had one of their videos running during the conference, so people could come in here and get a link to a video that described the products from the company, and it was the companies that gave us the YouTube videos that we could link to, so that these were active during the meeting. I will say at the end of the conference, we had very good feedback from the vendors who have been to a number of virtual conferences now and have sometimes been a bit disappointed on the interactive nature. They didn't have as many people coming in. It was hard to organize meetings, but again, in SpatialChat, it's all very fluid. We just told people, the vendors are now in their spaces and people could move around just like they would around an exhibit hall at a big conference. So. Yeah, so this is, again, a famous scene from Quebec City. We got this picture from the tourist board in Quebec. We were trying to use this as advertisement for next year's meeting, trying to encourage people to come to the meeting. Again, as I said, we had 93 people. They were from 13 different countries. So we're hoping next year that many of those people will still come to Quebec. This is a scene from about 40 minutes from Kingston, again, just to show how beautiful Canada is. And this is a picture from my personal library. So this is a picture I took a few years ago of my dog up on a cliff on an island at a beautiful lake. And this was another popular room where people would come and they would hang out and just have a chat. And sometimes they would click little pictures of canoes and post pictures of canoes and stuff. So it was just a social space, but it was just, again, the features in SpatialChat where you can import a background from a picture that you've taken. It made it easy to personalize the space a little bit, which was, again, very nice to have kind of a Canadian feel to this conference, even though everybody was on a computer. There were still people in the space using it, so it was very much like at a live conference where people are walking around the exhibit hall and meeting and talking. So SpatialChat gave the strongest feel of a live conference of the virtual venues that I've seen so far.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Thank you for sharing that. It's always nice to hear that.
It's a very good software, and I do wish you guys all success now that it's just a little over a year anniversary. I think a year and a couple of months.
Exactly.
I think people are becoming aware of what it can do. I know that another conference that is coming up in a few weeks are using SpatialChat again for some of their social activities. So I think as people see what it has available, perhaps the use will grow as word gets out there.
John, I will tell you, thank you very much for showing around and explaining how did it work for you. And what I do, I will look forward to meet you after the second conference, and let's see what kind of new features you have explored and what kind of new concepts you came up with.
Okay, actually, if you give us a couple of seconds after the recording, I might give you a couple of ideas already.